Good morning, everyone. Today, we are going to take some time and pin down some big ideas. Make some connections between the two models that we've talked about. So right over here, I'm going to draw a thermometer. Now, the thermometer is actually just the y-axis disguised. So you know how the x-axis goes horizontally? Well, the y-axis goes vertically. And I'm just going to turn it into a little thermometer to show the model that we're using. There's my thermometer. And I'm going to go ahead and put 0 right here in the center. So here's 0. Just like the y-axis would have 0 right there. And then I've got a little penny. Just going to make the bottom right here. Okay, well, yeah, close enough. Okay, so on a thermometer, this would be 0, neither hot nor cold. Then as I move up, these will each represent 1 degree in the positive direction. So you should be putting this in your toolbox. Be sure to pause whenever you need a chance to catch up. I'll just go up to 10 right there. So those are the whole numbers. And if you take the whole numbers and flip them over, it's almost like you fold them right here in the center. You're going to have a matching set of numbers that just go in the opposite direction. So there are a lot of things in the world that are opposite. Having money, spending money, going up in elevation, going down in elevation. Think of all different kinds of examples of that. We've decided to use temperature for our model because we have a lot of experience with temperature. So rather than draw this thermometer every time, I'm just going to draw it once here. You can use it to count things out, but it's there to give us the big idea. So if you start here and you move in this direction, you are getting hotter. Then if you start here and you move in this direction, you're getting colder. That's a big idea. Notice that I've used what we talked about yesterday. These are vectors. Now the vectors don't always have to start at 0. For our problems, we always start with a temperature in our cauldron of 0, but vectors can start anywhere. So let's just write down and remind ourselves what a vector is. This is where the vector starts. It can either go up or down. I'm just going to have my example be an up vector. And when you draw a vector, you need to label it with 2 things. One is its direction. So this vector is going up. This right here is the direction. And this particular vector happens to be 1, 2, 3, 4 units. This is the magnitude. I'm going to use the word magnitude a lot. I might use the word length as well. So magnitude means length. So this is meant to represent how much something is changing. Vectors represent change. I'm going from here, perhaps at 0, to here at 4. So that's what we're going to use to kind of tell the story of how the temperature is changing. Now, we're going to tie that together with the other model we've been using, which is the hots and the cold cubes. So let's remind ourselves. This is what a hot looks like. This is one hot cube. And this is equal to -1, which is one cold cube. Now, here is a gigantic idea. If I put in one hot cube, my temperature is going to be +1. But if I turn right around and put in a cold cube, where am I going to be at? Well, it turns out that if you go up 1, because you put in a hot cube, whoop, and then you put in a cold cube, whoop, you're in right back up where you started at 0. So we are going to call this a 0 pair. Now, this symbol is the symbol for 0. A 0 pair. Now, we actually use this symbol all the time to mean not. So somebody came up with a great example yesterday. They said, you might see that, oh, it was Aiden. If you may see a sign that has a picture of a dog with that sign on it. That means 0 dogs are allowed to be here. So this is a big idea, and it's a 0 pair. So we are going to be using this idea of a 0 pair quite a lot this year. So let's go ahead and we're going to kind of tie these things together. So yesterday, we worked together in groups to look at the 2 ways that we can represent these pictures. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen just to remind us. If you take a look, this is number 2. So this is one of the groups. They did this problem. It's the salamander souffle. Yum. And here's the algebra tiles picture. And here is the vector picture. So we are going to just record this into our toolbox in case we end up having questions about this. So I'm going to okay, so number 2 from yesterday was a delightful salamander souffle, just so yummy on a summer's day. And its recipe was 7 hots, put in 3 colds. Now I really want you to tie in your mind the 2 pictures together. So over here, we're going to put our algebra tile picture, and over here, we're going to draw our vector diagrams. So I have 7 hots. You should be drawing your 7 hots. So let's go ahead and represent that using our vectors. So rather than draw the thermometer over again, I'm just going to draw the y-axis. So I'm just going to go right here over in the vector side. Wiggle around a little bit down there, but that's okay. And I'm going to put 0 right here at the same place. Now you're going to notice on my vector diagram that I'm actually not going to take the time to write all of these numbers in. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to get a picture in our mind. So we are just going to put the most important pieces of this diagram. So we're starting at 0. This is called the tail of the vector. It's where everything starts. So the vectors actually tell a story. So the first part of the story is 7 hots. So just like I would go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on my thermometer, I'm going to show that using a vector. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I'm just going to put 1 tick mark right here to show that I went up 7. It's kind of like a benchmark. So you can see how far you've gone. You don't need to fill in all the rest. You do need to label your vector with its magnitude and direction. Its magnitude is 7 and its direction is up. So that's the first part of the story. Then we put in 3 colds. 1, 2, 3. Now, just think about it. You've got sometimes I make my hot chocolate a little too hot. I've been known to burn my tongue, which is pretty much torture. And I've been known to put ice cubes in my hot chocolate. Feel free to silently mock me if you need to. So when I put those ice cubes in, it's going to take something that was hot and cool it off. So if I was up here at +7, when I put in those colds, the next part of the story is the temperature goes down 1, 2, 3, down 3 degrees. So if you go up 7 and then down 3, you're going to end up right here at +4. That is your final temperature. This vector picture tells you the story. Now, let's look over here and see if we can see the same story. Here's the temperature going up 7. Now, some of that hot is being canceled out by those colds. If you have hots and colds mixed together, you can make 0 pairs. So I'm just reminding myself that these are 0 pairs. So these 0 pairs right here are where I went up and turned around and came back down. This right here is like a 0 pair. So as you're going through doing these problems, I would like you to pay close attention to how these 2 pictures go together. Now notice that my answer turned out to be +4 on my number line, and my answer also turned out to be +4 in my picture. So I'm going to make sure that I label it both places. So we're going to do one more problem together, and then you will finish out the rest for homework. Okay, so here we have our page. It was where we get to from modules, and you can get the problems that you're going to need to do from whichever one of these which group you're in. So it should have the problems that your groups did yesterday. I haven't checked those, so they could be right, or I don't know, but you can take a look at them. But what you're going to want to do is look at them because they have the recipes on them. So if I look right down here, here's the tarantula tongue tea. You'll notice that I have put those titles in my toolbox. And you can just look through and get the problem for each one of those. So there's the salamander souffle and the remembering remedy. So this is where you will get those 8 problems to put in your toolbox. Okay. Have a good day.